Hello, everyone. Thank you for stopping by and joining the Figma to Code Learning Design with Dev Mode stream. I'm so excited to start this stream off for y'all and give you a really cool introduction into Figma. So I've been seeing so many different people in the chat. Hello, hello. Thank you everyone for joining. We do have a lot of challenges this Global Hack Week. You can go to Global Hack Week challenges and I can actually get the link for you and it will be at right here for Code with June. I've pasted the link in chat for you, and that is the link for all of the challenges. So you can find any of those there. We do have a couple of Figma challenges, so I would really recommend that y'all go ahead and try that out after the stream. Yay! Hello, hello! So excited to see the excitement. Yes, another Figma stream. We are really going strong with Figma. Yay! Yes, we will definitely be talking about what Figma is. I actually have a slide just for that. You predicted exactly what I was going to do. So you're jumping ahead, but I will get there. Yay, 8th stream streak. Good job. We're only on day 2 and you're already on your 8th stream. Huge congratulations. No, I didn't. I wear contacts sometimes, so I'm wearing contacts right now. But welcome everybody. Make sure that you check in at the check-in link that I posted in chat. Y'all should get check-in so that all the time that you spend here in this stream is counted and used because we want to make sure that everything that you are seeing is what we are seeing as well. And to get your points counted for all the streams that y'all come to. So I'm going to take that check-in link away, but if y'all need it, just let me know. I did post it in chat, but totally okay if you need it again. So with that in mind, let's get started. I would strongly recommend that y'all scan this QR code too. That's also the check-in link if y'all need it. And that could be a little bit useful if you need. But I'll give y'all a quick second to either scan that QR code or check in to the link. We definitely want to make sure that everyone's checking in for this stream, not just for us, but so that our friends at Figma can see how many of y'all are so super excited about Figma and, continue giving us some really cool resources. Yeah, no, I can't see without them, so I would not be able to run the stream without them. Thank you for your concern, though. But yeah, I'm going to move on. Let me know if anyone needs that QR code again. But hey, if y'all haven't met me, hi, I'm Varshni. I'm a coach at Major League Hacking. And fun fact about me is that I love taking multiple hour walks. I've been really getting into it over the holiday season, and I really like it. I also use she, her pronouns. If this is your first time with me, welcome. I hope you enjoy this stream. And if you've seen me before, welcome back. Okay, so a couple notes before we get started. First, obviously, thank you for coming. And here's a quick table of contents for what we're going to do for this workshop. So in the next 30 minutes, we're going to get access to Figma education, learn the basics of Figma design, and design a quick web project. So you'll have something really easy to go. And then in the last 30 minutes, we're going to ready our project for development, or RFD, convert the design to HTML/CSS, and then you will be using dev mode you'll find dev mode, which is what we'll be using, and you'll find it super easy to use and extremely helpful in bringing designs to the IDE. You don't have to have any design experience to use Figma or any sort of experience at all. It's honestly just a bunch of different settings that you'll learn. So I'm super excited for that. Okay, let's move on. So, starting off with the topic for what is Figma? So, has anyone heard of Figma before? I'm pretty sure a lot of you have talked about it, but I'm curious if we've got any experts in the crowd here. Oh my gosh, Code with June, you got me. There actually are no Figma challenges this Global Hack Week. That's so sad. Usually we have a couple of Figma challenges. Thank you for calling me out there. You are 100% correct. Figma is not hanging out with us this Global Hack Week for some challenges, so completely ignore what I said, but definitely still do some challenges, even if they're not Figma related. Those challenges will help you get some more opportunities for swag, and they're also really good for your development too. Yay, so excited. Hi. Figma works on Mac, yes. You can use it on a web browser. You can also download the app on your devices, but most people, like for this stream, will use it just online because it's like easier to use. Hello, hello. Thank you for joining. So, I know that some of y'all were talking about what Figma is, and Figma actually is about making design accessible to all. And specifically, Figma has a couple different products, and we'll be using some of those products today. So, Figma Design is Figma's most popular product, and that's probably what you hear the most about Figma. So, it is used by designers worldwide, and it's the most popular design collaboration platform. It's most useful when you're designing websites, mobile apps, or other products, and you can create, share, test designs, all of that good stuff. Next up is FigJam. FigJam is kind of your digital whiteboard, canvas, and notepad, and it's actually one of the best tools for ideating, brainstorming, and planning things in collaborative environments. So you can think like hackathons that y'all go to, or class meetings, or if you're doing whiteboard drawings with other people. So it's actually really cool. You can do in real time drawings of what other people are seeing and what you're seeing too. So I think it's super cool. Yes, you are correct. It is for designing the layout and design. That's like a big overarching main goal slash purpose of it. But it definitely does have a lot of other cool aspects that we'll be exploring too. And no worries if you have no idea what Figma is. That is exactly what this stream is for. So I'm glad to hear that you're here with us, and hopefully you get to learn some really cool stuff. Figma Slides is the third product, and it's kind of like Google Slides, Microsoft PowerPoint, but with some really cool design features. And you can present what you want to with design. So actually, this slideshow was made with Figma Design and Figma Slides. So embedding, you can do a lot of different things. You can embed widgets to gather feedback during presentations, and you can also embed prototypes, which are really cool if you're having like a class presentation or like an art portfolio presentation where you'd be presenting something that you created. And next up, we've got Figma Dev Mode, our last one and a strong focus of our stream today. Figma Dev Mode is not your normal developer copilot. As you design, you can switch over to Dev Mode and use these things called code gens to get any useful information such as HTML or CSS. So basically, whatever design you have on your page can be converted to a programming language using code gens. And if you're building a mobile app, you can switch between iOS and Android code gens because you want to have multi-platform support. So it's really easy to do that with Figma. And if you're building with any other frameworks that might not default be included in Figma, you can always install third-party extensions to generate code such as Tailwind or React. Dev mode has a lot of different features like annotations, measurements, component history, like VS Code extensions, and lots of different things. We're going to be exploring some of those today, but I do encourage y'all to explore it on your own time if we don't get the chance to get to it today. So today we'll be using Figma Design and Dev Mode, if you could tell by the title of this stream. So we're going to be doing the first one and the fourth one. Yes, so basically Figma has four different types of products, and they are essentially used to help you bring your designs to life in a way that can help you convey something really cool. And specifically, we'll be using Figma Design, so using the designs to be able to convey our ideas, and we'll also be using Dev Mode. So we're going to be converting all of our designs into code, so that way we can keep our designs but be able to display them using HTML and CSS. Hopefully that was a quick and easy short explanation. If you're curious about why you want to learn Figma, Figma is the industry standard and go-to collaborative design tool, and it's honestly pretty hard to find a company that doesn't use Figma. If you're curious about where you can get started, Figma has a bunch of design libraries and kits, and you can choose from things like Apple's iOS or like iPad OUS. And the overall theme is just that they want you to save time. They have a bunch of different design kits and design systems so that you're not starting from scratch and so that you have an actual basis. So I talked about that iPad and iOS. I'm not sure what that is. Could you tell me if you like that explanation or didn't? I can't tell if that's a happy emoji or not. Yes, material design kits are very cool. So there's like iPad and iOS and iPad OS. They can help you give that like iOS look. If some of y'all have seen like if you have iPhones or if you see your friends with iPhones, it looks very similar. And Figma has that as well. So it has all of the components that you need to have Apple's design. Similarly, it's also there for Google's Material 3 design kit, where you can build Android apps that resemble Android system. So again, it has those components that can resemble that, which is pretty cool. And finally, you've got Figma's Simple Design System, which is a UI kit, a user interface kit that can help developers get started using some pre-built examples and components so that you don't have to do it by yourself from scratch every time. Didn't get it. Oh no. Well, I got you. So Figma is basically a tool that you can use to make your designs more clearly understood. There's a lot of different products that Figma has, but for example, the slide that we're on right now is Figma slides, and Figma specifically the product is yeah, it's literally called Figma slides. And that is used to kind of give a PowerPoint, but with some really cool pieces of design. So it's basically just offering you more customization and more ability to use your creativity. And we're also going to be talking about dev mode today, which is where you can convert your design. So let's say you have like this arrow or something, or you have like a different card and like different sections, which you'll see later today. You can actually convert that to code. So if you've ever seen a website with HTML or CSS, you can create a design on Figma and convert that to code. So you don't have to go through the hard labor of like picking out the colors and picking out the images and coding in HTML and CSS. Instead, you can just take the design from Figma and convert it to code. So hopefully that made sense. Yes, the designs do look cool. I am glad you are excited to learn about it. Yes, so I can go back and talk about that a little bit more. So the simple design system, I wouldn't say is like bootstrap. It's more just like a simple collection of components that you can use. I guess that's like kind of a similar comparison, but I'd say it has a little bit more because it doesn't just have components, but it has like a lot of different styles that you can use. So it's a little bit more advanced than that. And yeah, you can use it in replacement for PowerPoint. I honestly would recommend it. PowerPoint has become quite outdated. It's very like useful. I've definitely used PowerPoint, but I find that now when I'm trying to create a PowerPoint, it's like the themes are very outdated and it looks like it was made in the 2000s. But Figma has that very modern look, which I like. Glad to hear that you got it. Great, good news. Okay. So, if you're curious about like why not just use like V0, which is like Vercel's AI UI builder, or just ChatGPT, it's all about design. If you look at the artwork that AI creates, it's not as creative as what humans can make. And a lot of different products that are made by Figma are made exactly by designers. So when you gain design experience, it's a really cool skill to be able to convert your ideas and honestly your code into something that you can show as a design. It's honestly a very marketable skill. So I know it might sound like kind of like, oh, it's just design. It's like very creative, but not really technical. But it is because every engineer is like they're very skilled. They know their knowledge, but what separates and some like really good engineers from like very just good ones is this ability to be able to develop what you know into something like design where you can show other people what you know through like kind of more interactive and creative ways. So if you're curious about where you can use Figma, there's a lot of different avenues, so like Chrome, Firefox, Windows. I know some of you were asking about that. You can use it on most platforms, and you can also download it natively if you would like. So Figma can be accessed pretty much everywhere, including VS Code. So it's got the web browser, it's got your desktop and mobile, and it's also got the VS Code extension. So you can honestly use it anywhere that you need, anywhere that you want, and you can directly use it within VS Code as well, which is pretty cool. The challenge GitHub, I don't have any project build yet. Is it required to build one and submit? It depends on which GitHub challenge you are submitting to. There's a lot of different ones. I would read the rules for the GitHub challenge. They have very clear rules about what you need to submit to the challenge and what you need to be considered as a valid submission. So definitely make sure you read those rules. It's got a lot of different tools for you. Yes, I love VS Code, and it's really cool that it has that extension built in. Okay. So if you want access to Figma Dev Mode, I will show you how. We're going to use this specific link that will help y'all get some more usage for how to get a really cool version of Figma Dev Mode. So Figma Dev Mode is only available for education plans and professional plans. However, if you apply at mlh.link/Figma, then you'll be able to use that link to apply for an educational plan. So this is if you are a professor, a graduate student, or a current university student, apply with your school emails. If you are not a current student or you don't have any university emails or you're not part of a boot camp, totally okay. You just won't be able to follow along for the Figma Dev part, which is the second half, because Figma Dev Mode is only available for kind of the higher tiers of the tiers of Figma subscription system. And with education, you get all the benefits of professional, but with no additional cost because you're a student and you're still learning. So yes, it does. Any university works, any graduate works, just as long as you have a school email or you're part of a boot camp that you can prove. So that does work as well. And students can get free access using that link. And I'm gonna give y'all about a couple minutes to see if y'all need some more time to get access to that link. I'm gonna play some music and just chill here. And if you have any questions about how to get access or about how to kind of work around it, just let me know. I'll be waiting here and we'll come back together in about 3 minutes. Okay, I haven't seen too many questions pop up in chat, so I think we should be good to go. If y'all need more time to register or get your verifications in, if you could put that in chat, I would really appreciate that. You're kind of gonna need that additional account to follow along with part 2. So if you're having any trouble, please let me know now so we can take the time to stop. But if no one else has any problems, we're just gonna keep moving. Okay, 2 minutes, great. We'll wait for you about 3 more minutes, and then we'll see if everyone's caught up by then. Thank you for letting me know that you need some more time. I appreciate that. Good luck! Hello, hello. Great. Glad to hear that you are done. How is everyone else doing? Caught up? Don't choose a plan. Make sure that it's not charging you. If you have a university account, you should just be able to register for it, and I can actually go through that process if that helps you. But please don't pay anything unless you want to. If you're not a student currently, then you can simply just well, follow along for the first part, but you won't be able to follow along for the dev part. Do. Let me see if I can. Okay, yeah, I can't go on the link because I've already gotten the account. But let me know if you have any more questions and if something's trying to charge you. Hello, hello. Good, glad to hear it. Okay, I'm gonna keep going. If any other issues come up, just please let me know. Yay! Okay, so glad to hear. Thank you for letting me know. But don't be afraid to speak up in chat if you all need any help. I am gonna move on just so that we can keep going. But if anything else happens, just let me know. I'm always happy to answer questions. Okay, great. So now we're going to be going over a couple basics of Figma design. Remember, you don't need to be a designer. We can learn all the basics right here. So you have your design files, and they have a couple of regions. So they've got the canvas, toolbar, and the left and right sidebars. So you've got the toolbar, you've got the left bar, the right sidebar, and the canvas right here. You can pan and zoom in and out of the canvas using the controls listed on the screen. So you can pan around using the hold down in space and drag, or you can just use your two fingers, and you've got the same commands here for zoom in and out. Quite intuitive. Yay! Let's go! The toolbar, which is what we were talking about, is at the bottom of the screen around here. Is where almost every tool is located. So we'll be using move, frame, shape, and text. So that's move, frame, shape, and text. So they've got a lot of different technologies and different uses for these tools, but we're mainly going to be using moving the objects around, creating frames, which is kind of how you group objects together, creating shapes, and also editing text and creating text. We talked about the left sidebar, and that's where you're going to be able to manage and organize objects in relation to each other. So most notable are pages and layers here, right here, and that's what we're basically going to be using. So when I talk about a page or a layer, you can see that on the left-hand side. So whenever we create something new, if we create a new group or we create something new, you can see it on the left-hand side. The right sidebar is where you can edit the properties of objects. So we talked about how design is where you're kind of editing objects and you're kind of making them. And so for properties, you can manage how you're editing those as well. And if you select something, you can edit the properties of that. So that's just a quick overview of the basics of Figma. There are so many more features and tricks that you can learn through Figma's resources library. And specifically, there's actually a link that y'all can use for learning more about Figma resources. And I'll put that in the chat here and leave it up on the screen for a little bit. So if y'all find this stream interesting later on or are already finding this stream interesting, you can go to the resources link and gain some more information about resources with Figma. But we're going to deep dive into a UI card project. I know I said that if you do not have a grader, like if you don't have the education account or the professional account, you won't be able to do part 2. This is just part 1. So if you weren't able to get that education account, you can still join us for part 1. Just when we switch over to dev mode, you won't be able to join. Yes, we are going to Figma. So we're going to start with a quick demo project, and we're actually going to Figma right now. So great job jumping ahead of me. You got it already. Yes, of course. So now that we know the fundamentals of Figma design, we're going to build a quick project together, and then we're going to build a website using those designs with Figma Dev Mode. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to toggle between these slides and then I'm going to toggle between actual Figma. So I'm mainly showing you these slides so that you can see exactly what you need to see for what you need to do, but I'll also show you the actual Figma page so that you can see how to do what you need to do. So give me 1 second here. I will open that right up. Do, do, do. And let's go ahead. So, one more thing that I will actually show y'all really quick. Yay, glad to hear, glad to hear. Good job completing challenges. If y'all are on that student or professional account, you will need to create a project within the educational account. So let me show you that really quick. So we're going to go to this tab. This is your Figma home tab, kind of like your home. And I'm going to go to my projects and you just create a project here and you can create a team and make sure that you create a project that is under your plan so that you can actually be able to use your professional plan and Figma dev mode within your project. So going back to those slides once more. So you're going to create a card component. That's part one of our project. So first we're going to create a text box and then we're going to type a title in. So we're going to do it right over here. So remember, we said this is our canvas, our left bar, our right bar, and our tool bar. So we're going to go down here. We're going to click on toolbox and we're going to do this. And you feel free to type whatever you want, but I'm going to do my first hackathon. And for stylistic purposes, to kind of make this look like our title, I'm going to bold it. So to bold it, you can either just do Control B, or you can actually come over here and see specifically where to do regular. So you've got regular, all these different types of text styles that you can do, and I'm going to bold it. So I'm just going to highlight all of that, and I'm going to go ahead and bold it. Boom. And I'm going to make it 24 so that we've got that nice big title style. So again, feel free to do whatever you like. This is your job. Not your job. This is your project. So feel free to customize it however you like. I'm just giving you a pretty generic example. You can use it for front end, but it is mainly used for front end because it's more on the web design and design aspect. But people do use Figma and the whiteboard. They'll use that for back end design so that you can create an actual design that can help you out and help you visualize things as well. Hello, hello. So we've got our title done, which is great. That is exactly what we wanted. And that was kind of the first step. So now let me go back to the slides. We've got our part 2 coming up here, and we're going to create a rectangle shape above the text box. So we're going to go back to this tab, and we're going to create a little rectangle up here. Doesn't matter what the size is, I'm going to try to keep it within the constraints of my little first hackathon tab here. And you can see exactly where that lines up. If you zoom in a little bit, you can see where it lines up. It hits those 2 red X's under the M. Same over here, it hits the 2 red X's, or just 1 red X in this case, under the N. So you'll be able to see exactly how it lines up. Yeah, that's the great thing about Figma. There's a lot of different uses for it. And even if something's not explicit, like Figma's not explicitly for backend, it can be used for backend, which is pretty cool. And for visualizing things like backend. So make sure we go ahead and click that little shape icon. Default is rectangle, and we're going to make a rectangle up here. So this is about how it should look. And now that we have done that, we are going to move back to the slides and move on to our next part, which is creating a text box for the description of your above title. Sizing doesn't really matter here, but we're going to go over a couple of style features that you can do. So let me get a quick story from some of y'all in chat. Could anyone tell me about their first hackathon win? I should change that to win. I think win would be cool. So if anyone has a very cool story about their hackathon win, I would love to hear it. Please tell me about your wonderful hackathon wins, and we can document them in GHW history. I would love to hear about them. No, there are way more than 3 people watching. Sometimes Twitch's counts are not as accurate, and there's also a lot of people watching on YouTube, so there are always people watching. Great to hear that you won a hackathon. So give us a quick little story about the hackathon that you won and tell us more about it. Yes, no worries at all. Um, Hackathons are very difficult and lots of competitive projects are made, but hopefully you win one soon. You've definitely got the skill to keep trying for that and keep moving. So, do, 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 do. Yes. Okay, so I'm just gonna make a quick paragraph here, and I'll talk about a first potential hackathon win. So we're gonna go back to the text box here. I'm gonna make a little text. Ooh, I'm gonna make a little text box underneath the my first hackathon win. And aligning it with that above space. And I am going to make it a little bit smaller so that it's no longer the tab size. So I just went ahead and clicked that box again, made a little text box. I clicked this, I made that text box, and I'm going to change the size here. Going to go down here, and I'll go back to 12 just to kind of even that out. And I'll say, I love hackathons. And y'all can, again, do whatever you like. My first hackathon win. We will take actually our story from our friend Panana here. My first hackathon win hasn't happened yet, but I'm super excited for it to happen at my next hackathon. And actually, let's go and create a fake scenario for us and see what the next potential hackathon could be. Mm. So we've got our very cool MLH season schedule up here, and we will be using a event that is coming up. So these are our past events. We want to go to 2026, so let's change that up here. Perfect. Upcoming events 2026. So let's see something that we have coming up. So I'm actually going to be attending U AutoHack. I will be one of the coaches there. So let's use U AutoHack. Let's pretend like you are going to U AutoHack. So we're going to say that our fictional person here is going to be winning at their next hackathon, which is U AutoHack. And feel free to do whatever y'all want, but I am excited for this. Yay! Yes, thank you for always watching Quackers and Cheese. You are a loyal supporter. Yes, I do too. I really like the way that it has things very neatly organized and it does help you be more creative. It is very cool. So now that we've done that, I've kind of got my text there. We're going to click the middle option for our layout, which is auto hype, so that we don't have to have our text going like over and over. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to go to the layout section, which we've got right over here. And if you hover over this, you can see that this means auto hyped. So we're just going to click on this, and that way it doesn't go forever and ever. It's not going to go forever and ever because I made this really nice box here. But in the future, that is really useful so that you don't just like extend forever in one direction. Very cool. Vibe coding competition using only Replit. First year student. Huge congratulations. That sounds very cool. Great job. And we can set the font size maybe to 16 and the size of the type style to regular. So no longer having bold. And let's set it to 16. A little bit bigger there. Okay, great. And now we're going to go back to our slides for the next part. We're going to place an image in the rectangle. So we're going to click on fill, we're going to click on image, and we're going to upload from computer. So here is a race against time. I want y'all to give me an image that I can put into the box. So let me know what y'all want to put. Please make it appropriate for Global Hack Week, but I am more than happy to put whatever y'all like into this little box above my first hackathon win. Waiting for y'all. Hopefully am able to get a cool picture that we can use. You don't have to give me the picture, you can just give me the topic. Doo, doo, doo. I think I'll give it maybe 2 more minutes, and I'll play some music so we're not just staring here in awkward silence, but please send me something cool that I can use as a picture. Just tell me what a quick topic, and I will be able to put that in our little project here. Yay, so glad to hear that we've got a great request here. So we're gonna use a dog. Great. I love dogs, me personally. So I will download a cute dog picture and I will put that up in my first hackathon win because honestly, what more do you need? Oh my God, I'm having a cute list overload right now. Let me show y'all. These are so cute. I love dogs. I like this one. This one looks happy. Very cute. Oh no, actually this one looks cuter. I love corgis. Okay, so I'm just gonna save this and I'll just save it in my folder. Oops. Oh, I did close that tab. That's on me. Unfortunate. Yes, I am a dog person. I honestly like cats too, but I think if I had to pick, I would pick both, but I do love cats. Yes, those are very cute. So I'll show y'all what we're gonna do. So we're gonna go back over to our Figma over here. We're gonna click on our rectangle that we made earlier, and we're gonna go to the fill section, and you'll notice that it's on color right now. So this is color. We're gonna go over to image. So we click on image, and we're gonna click upload from computer. I'm gonna step away from the screen for a hot second so that I can actually upload the picture. Last time I did this, I accidentally showed some information that I shouldn't have because I was in my downloads folder. That was not the best idea. So now we are back. Yay! Here is our cute little doggy, very adorable. This is our first hackathon win. And that is exactly what you're gonna do on yours. We put the image up in the rectangle and it still maintains that shape of the rectangle that we had before. So thank you for that suggestion for the dog. Back to the slides. Next up, we're going to create a frame. So you can use these different key combinations and you can be able to get the frame. So the top option is for if you're a Mac user and the bottom option is if you are a different user for different types of computers. So I'm going to go back to the Figma tab. And so we saw that it was the option, command, and G. So I'm going to do that. And I'm going to select each and every one of my components. So I'm going to select this one, select this one, select this one. Notice that when I select all three, the layers on here have all been highlighted in blue because they're all selected. So I'm going to do by command, option, G. And you can see that now it doesn't say the individual components anymore, except it just says frame. And there you go. We can see the components again here. So that's the really cool use of Figma. You can put everything into a container. Would you change the font weight? Yeah, I did. I can show you how to do that. So you just go here and you go down to typography. We had it at bold before, but I just changed it to regular so that we can kind of differentiate between that title and the body. But you don't have to do it if you don't want to. So we created a frame, super duper cool. Back to the slides for the next part. And now we are going to make the frame use auto layout, which is very cool. It's kind of the equivalent of using Flexbox in CSS, and it allows us to dynamically organize items within the frame based on the rules that we provide. So again, we've got a very cool keyboard shortcut for you to use. I'm going to go back over here and I'm going to click on my frame. I can click on the frame here, or I can just click on the frame here, and it was Shift A. So you can notice, look at that difference. So it's kind of like sized kind of weirdly. It doesn't really look very aligned, but if I do Shift A, it becomes all one. And now you can also see that we have used auto layout and this setting has come up in our properties section, which is very cool. Yes, it does look better. So now that we've done auto layout, going back to our tab, we have a great example of what we need to do next, which is we are going to add some very cool styling and make it fun and have some fun little stylistic features. So here we've got a lot of different options and we're basically going to be adding a couple different things. I'll show you some things that you can do and feel free to make your own edits. But I'm going back to my design and I am going to make the layout dimension vertical. So it's already vertical, which is great. It's going down instead of sideways or a different way, which is wonderful. And then I'm going to make the alignment to the left. So it's already to the left, which is perfect, great. And I'm going to make the gap 6 so that we can have a bigger gap in between these sections, which is lovely. We're going to change the vertical and horizontal padding to 24. So that way we have some more sizings. We can actually see here that that made it kind of look weird. So let's see if we can fix that because that is what design is all about. So we noticed that it actually didn't look, it looked decent before we had this 24 size. So let's see if we can make it look better again. We can make this bigger and we can make this bigger. And here, we'll go back here and let's try our Shift A once more. Okay, so we want to go back and not create another frame, but keep this within one. Auto layout, perfect. Ooh, this box looks ugly now. That's so unfortunate. What has happened to our lovely box? Frame. Click back on the frame. Oh, it's gone. It's all gone. Ah, okay. Shift A. Things just started becoming odd. Yes, they can be used by UI UX people. Yes, indeed. Do do do. Okay, back to what we did originally. So we had it in auto layout. Perfect. And I think we're just going to leave the padding as is because it doesn't look ideally. Yes, I did accidentally lock the whole frame. Thank you for that. Yay. So this isn't really a hackathon. This is more Global Hack Week. And this is teaching you all the technical skills that you need to be super technical and have a lot of skills at hackathons. So this is more just teaching you skills. MLH does run a lot of hackathons though, so I would keep an eye out for that in the Discord. Okay, with that in mind, let's go back. So I said we were going to auto layout, we did the vertical, we had our alignment to left, we had the gap to 6. Now let's go back and see if we can get that padding back again. Or will it do the exact same thing that it did before? We shall see. It still doesn't look ideal. Let's see if we can change that. Okay, I honestly like that a little bit better. Kind of messing around with the text sizes to see what we can get in a more formatted shape. I think I like that better. I think that looks more straight and a little bit more formatted. So there you go. We're added some styling, and then we're going to scroll down to the appearances section. So I'm going to re-click on that frame. I'm going to go down to appearance, and I'm going to set our corner radius to 16. So that way we can have a really nice kind of like rounded effect around the corners. And then I'm going to set the stroke weight to 2 so that we can actually see the border. So that's this. And boom, we've got a very cool little shape. And if y'all want to specifically see that little rectangle, you can change the fill and maybe let's make that a nice little, we can do a light blue color. I feel like light blue is pleasant. So now you can see that kind of section that it has. Um, and that's our fun little shape that we have. Yes, it is a very cute dog. You can thank Leah Parch for that. Leah Parch suggested the dog, so thank you to Leah Parch. So we've made our cute little UI card here. So we're going to go back to the slides for our second part. Hopefully you all are having a great time following along. Now we are going to create our card container, and this is part 2. So for part 2, we'll be creating a container around our display. So we're going to be creating a large frame, just like the container. So we are going to be using the frame, and we're just going to be making around that. So I'll show you all how to do that really quick. We're going to go back here. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. I'm going to come down here to frame, and I'm just going to go a little bit above and maybe add some space here and here. So that we can kind of copy our UI cards over and look that way. Yes, the dog is very happy. Yeah, maybe we could add pizza at the end. Thank you. So we made a frame really quickly there, pretty big frame so that you can, provide some space for your UI cards. And now that we've created that frame, let's go back to our slides for the next part. We're going to make the frame an auto layout. So this is exactly what we did before. We're going to go back and we're selected on that frame. You can see that it's a little bit darker blue compared to the other sides. We're going to do Shift A, and that's going to auto layout. So it kind of adjusts it to exactly that and kind of makes it very like round. So back to the slides again, same thing that we did before, and we are going to add some styling. So we're going to set the layout to wrap, and we're going to set the alignment to top left and add some gaps and padding. So we're going to go over here, and we're actually going to click on this. This makes it a wrap, and we're going to be able to change that over here. So let's go ahead and let's do that. Okay, so it has done the wrap setting. It's that little arrow right here, our lovely little wrap setting. And then we are going to set the alignment to top left. So right here, it's middle left. We're going to do top left. And we're going to set our gap to 32. So we selected that frame, and we're going to set horizontal and vertical padding to 64. So these are just kind of rough numbers, but it helps give that kind of uniform effect. So we've kind of got this weird effect going on here, but there you go. We can keep that as our normal frame and have that in our section. And now back to the tabs. Once we do that, we are going to go ahead and just copy and paste the tab so we can have a straight and forward one. So we're going to go back here, again, extend your frame so that we can keep that. And now we're just going to move the UI cards around. So I'm going to make a couple. So, okay, looks like that one wants to be stubborn. That's okay. We can accommodate that. Oh. Okay, there's just going to be a little space there. So we're going to keep Control C and Control V. And boom, look at that. Isn't that very cool? So I'm not actually telling y'all where to paste it or where it's going to put the result. Because of the settings that we did before with auto boxing and wrap, it's actually able to do that. And one more cool thing that I'll show you, again, since I'm not telling it where to go, I actually did not show you. It's on the wrong tab. Apologies. I will do that effect all over again for you. So we've got our one UI card that we had over here. I'm going to Control C on my keyboard, and I'm going to Control V, and I'm not telling you where to put it. I'm just going to put my cursor somewhere random, and boom, it actually shows up right there. And I can keep doing it, and it'll show it perfectly spaced, that width of 64, that gap of 6, and that padding that it had. And since we did wrapped, it's not going to go past the screen. It's actually going to loop right back around so that it has enough space for that. So very cool. We can have these little UI cards, which is super fun. Yeah, the frame helps us have a lot of different Figma components. So we've got like the text box, we've got the image, we've got the heading, and we can group all of these different things together so that we can keep them constant and do something consistently with them. So yes, Shippy Pro is exactly right here. We group different Figma components like the image, heading, and text box. So yes, great answer, great answer. So hopefully y'all found that a little cool. It kind of looks like these little UI design cards, which I think is very fun. But that's all for our design, and now we're actually going to move on to our dev mode basics. So for those of y'all that had the student account, this is your time to shine. If you don't have one, no worries. You were still able to design the card, but we will kind of have some coding in this way. Yeah, kind of like a div. You'll kind of see us using HTML a little bit into this workshop, and you'll be able to see how it can convert. Yeah. So now we're going to move DevTool, which is a one-stop shop for helping developers translate their designs into code. So we're going to select the frame that we've created and make it ready for development. So we're just going to click the flame and click the dev button. So I'm going to go back to the Figma tab that we had here. I'm going to click on this frame, this overall big arching frame, and I'm going to click here. And that just makes it ready for dev. So you see that? It says frame 2 is ready for dev, which is exactly what we want. And now we're going to go back to the slides, just that quick little step right there. And then we are going to switch to dev mode by either toggling the dev mode button or using that key that we have over here. So let's go back. So you can either hit dev mode at the bottom or use the keypad combination. I'm just going to hit dev mode and boom, look at this. Very, very cool. So this is our Figma design and we can actually make that into code, which is very fun. So now that we've toggled dev mode, let's get a bit deeper into it. You can actually select that frame and see the code and styling that's in that code gen. So I was talking about CSS earlier, so let's see that. So let's go down here and we see code. It's in CSS right now. And so this is what it would look like if we were to switch to CSS. And you can see exactly how that code would look like if we had the same styling, which I think is pretty cool. It has the assets, it has the colors, and it has the different layouts that we use here. You've got it in a list or you've got it in code, which I think is very, very cool. It's CSS by default, but you can change it to different languages. And also, if you want to see any of the properties, you can click the top left properties as well. So in the top left, we've got our fun little properties up here, and you can see their properties. Let me check if there's something else. Yeah, instead of properties, it's just going to be this list actually. And this is in a way that you can understand versus code, and you can try different types of code as well, which is great. Okay, Figma dev mode, super cool. And you can see different code gen options as well. We're going to go ahead and look at some different options that you can do. So we saw CSS, you can do iOS, you can do like Swift UI. So this is what it would look like if you were on the iOS Swift. You could do Android, if you want to do XML. This is how it would look, and maybe Figma to code, like Tailwind. You can do all of these different plugins that it has. You can make your own, which is very cool. You don't have to make this design by yourself anymore. You can convert what you make in Figma into code, which is pretty cool. So now back to the tabs. We're going to select Swift UI. So just like I was showing y'all, we're going to go into iOS and we're going to do Swift UI, just like that. Boom. And we're going to go back to our slides and see what else is next for us. Now we're actually going to pick what we want to use for our website. So we're going to use a third-party plugin which shows our code translated to React with Tailwind styling. So if you haven't heard of what Tailwind is before, it's basically a CSS or cascading style sheet framework that helps users build websites faster and more easily through a set of utility classes. So you can kind of think about it as CSS is easier to memorize, type, and is generally less confusing than if you were just to use the plain base language. So let's go back to the page here and we can switch into our language. We're going to go into Figma to code and we're going to switch into Tailwind right there. Just like I was showing y'all before, and there's the code. And if you want to see it in a bit more bigger way, you can see it here. Super duper cool. Let's go back and see what is next up for us. Then we're going to use the code generated from the HTML option into an HTML document and actually view it in the browser. So here's a couple of steps. I'm going to do it locally on my computer and I want y'all to follow along. So we're going to create a new .html file. We're going to open it in a text editor. So like IDE, Notepad. If you're on a Mac, just search up like Notepad, paste the code from the code gen, and then actually open that HTML file up from the browser. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, and I'll share the results with y'all. So again, I'm not sharing too many things, and I'm super excited to see if y'all are able to get there as well. So I'm just going to open up Notepad, or what is it called? Notepad. Just had it open. Did I spell notepad wrong? Doo, doo, doo. Trying to see what application I was using before. I just used one, and I seem to have lost it. I'm not sure how that was possible. It's called Text Edit. If you're on a Mac, it is called Text Edit, apparently. So I'm going to make a new file, and I'm going to paste our code gen into what we need. So back to our tab. I'm just going to go ahead and copy this. There's a cute little copy button here, or you can just Control A. Back to our slides if anyone needs that. And I'm going to paste it into our HTML file. By the way, if you are in fact using text edit, make sure you paste it as regular text, because if you paste it as formatted text, it will not work. So make it into plain text. Otherwise, you won't be able to use it in HTML. So once I've done that, I'm just going to go ahead and save that file as a HTML file. So I'm going to say demo. I'll put the T, and it's going to be .html. And I'll save that so that it converts it into an HTML file, which is wonderful. And then I'm going to open it up. Okay, and there you go. Exactly what we did with our Figma design is what we're able to see here. So we don't have the asset in there because we haven't used the HTML language to put the assets in. But hopefully you can see it's kind of got that same layout, the gaps, the dividing, and the frames. And if you play around with it a little bit more, it can look more structured too. So I'll show y'all an example of that. So I did one earlier, and if you play around with the formatting a little bit, you can actually get the exact same layout that we had as well, with these little layout sections and the exact same stuff, which is super duper cool. So, oops, I X'd out. So going back to our edit over here. Yeah, that's exactly what you can do. Super, super cool. Back to our slides, that's basically it. After posting we're basically going to be able to view the page, and hopefully y'all were able to do that as well. But that's it. We were basically able to make a web mockup, and if you want to experiment with it more, you can definitely go ahead and try it in VS Code, and use a lot of these different resources. And if you really liked this workshop and you want to share some more information about how you enjoyed the workshop, please make sure you go to the https mlh.link chat link that I'm going to put in the chat for y'all, and fill out the Figma survey so that we can get some more feedback and see if y'all need some more Figma resources in the future. So that is the Figma survey link. Please make sure you fill that out. And on the topic of feedback, I'm going to give y'all a lot of links here. So just bear with me while I bombard you with links in the last couple of minutes in the stream. This is our GHW feedback link. So if you enjoyed this stream, enjoyed me as your streamer, or are enjoying Global Hack Week in general, please make sure you put that in our feedback form. If you have anything you'd like to fix as well, we would love to help you and make Global Hack Weeks better for you. And on the topic of Global Hack Weeks, let me highlight what we've got up next. So at this link here, which is our schedule link, we've got our full schedule, but specifically for today, what's up next? We've got what is an API? Definitely make sure you go and check this stream out. I think this is by Vincent. So definitely make sure y'all go to this stream next up. But I am so glad that y'all checked in and hopefully you were able to see the power of Figma. And I'm so glad that y'all found this amazing. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you for coming. Yeah, there's a lot of different challenges. GitHub has some challenges. This is more for beginners week, so it's a bit more challenges that are more accessible for everyone or kind of just refreshers on tools. So the challenges might not be as complex as you're used to with other global hack weeks, but definitely try out some of the challenges if you're able to. And with that, that is the end of the stream. Thank you all so much. If you have any questions about Figma or anything, please make sure you put it in the Discord. But I'm going to hop off stream now so we can let Vincent keep streaming. So thank you all so much for joining us. And thank you for taking the 1 hour with me. And yes, thank you so much for coming. Bye, everybody. Bye. Thank you for joining. Have a great day.